Hi guys, I'm Asif Ali and watching CGHOW video. Today I created this orb effect in UE5 Swirl orb. So I'll create it from scratch, and if you haven't subscribed my YouTube channel yet, please subscribe it. If you like this video, like, share and comment, and let's start this tutorial.
CGHOW. CGHOW.
First of all, subscribe my YouTube channel and also click on bell icon so you will receive all new video notification. So let's create a emitter. Effects. And first layer, the first element, let me just turn off the post I have here. So, okay, so it's reset. So I need a faded material. So if I check here, additive, I have this faded material. Okay, and I don't need all these forces. And I just need maybe 6 particles. And this is maybe 3. And life of particle maybe 2.5, 2.7. Okay, and I don't know mass and size maybe 150, 120. And let me make the scene little darker. Okay, so I have this and I want the color of my particle maybe pink and the size maybe even more random. And this should fade at the end. And then I need a size of mesh. It should just quickly scale up, and I'll make this key even more like this so it will quickly scale up. And I think life is too much. Let's make it 1.5 and 1 and make this loop maybe 2. Okay, and the size when it's at the 1 it still keep growing, so at the 1 it should be like 1.2 like this. Okay, so this is our core glow emitter. Second, we need a mesh dissolving over that. So I will make a material. That will be our swirl thing. So I have a noise and I'll show you how I created that. But let me search that now. This one. So if you'll see this is swirl texture and how I created. In Photoshop, take a cloud, then go to liquify and you have this. Just click here randomly. It will take some time and you can do random things like you can increase the size. It is too much. Like this much. You can randomize the size, like you can small it and make this small. So it's up to you, but this is how I created that texture. Okay. So you can see this. So I'll just use this and then I will use a subtract node and then I'll use this as opacity mask and two-sided. So if I connect this in the opacity mask and let's say I don't subtract anything, okay, this is black and white texture, it will still show you some transparency like this. Cool. And I want this to be two different color for both sides. So let's say if you have uh, this two side, I have a separate tutorial on this node. You can search in my videos how it works. So basically it will give you both side of face axis. So you can use different colors. So like if you have this lerp and you use it in emissive, one side will be black and one side will be white because lerp has 0 and 1. So inside is black, outside is white. So instead of white, you can use a color maybe like dark purple. And inside you can use a light color, maybe lightly pink, like this. Cool. Okay. So this texture has too much noise. I don't like it. So it should be little smoother. So if I export this texture, because this is my old texture, I want to edit it. Desktop, swirl noise, and in Photoshop, let it open. I'll open that texture in Photoshop, swirl. And we don't have swirl here, so I want that first. So go to liquify, and also I don't. Cool. Okay. And then I want little blur. And before that, I'll control S to hide the lines. I'll go to the offset. And because it's no more a tileable texture, you need to fix that first. So you can take this smudge tool and do that manually. Okay. You can manually do that little bit to make your texture tileable. Like here I'm doing. Okay, it's almost now fixed. You can check offset again if there's some issue. And then I will use little blur, Gaussian blur. It will be little softer. And now if I'll use the level, yeah, it's fine. We can use this one now. On desktop, I'll just replace it. And now in my FX folder, oops, in here, I will import that. And I'll use that texture here now. So it will be a little more smoother. And then dynamic parameter to dissolve it. And here I will use the power also. So first is my subtract, second is my power. Save this and I'll browse this in my FX. I'll copy this, copy and paste. This is my swirl thing. And instead of this, we need a mesh and sphere. Okay. I think this sphere has different UVs. It has straight UVs. Let me check how my material looks on that. So I'll just browse this and override that material here. And let me preview. Let it compile. So now I'll take the dynamic parameter and default value I set like these are 0, 0. So if I increase the power, you can see, and we have also subtract. But I think power is enough. Okay. And I think the tiling is too much. So we don't need subtract. So we can just avoid that for now. And I'll use a texture coordinate and multiplier for the tiling. So this sub is now my tile. Now I'll refresh this tiling, let it run. We can also use 0.5. 0.5 is good. And the value we need is, I think, from 3 to 0.3 to 1.25. So I'll use a curve 0.3 to 1.25. And then I'll use the same curve, copy, and take the scale mesh and make it float and paste that curve. Oh, we can't paste that. So I'll just delete that, and in the mesh, I'll use a curve. So from 0 and 0.2, it becomes 1. And then at 1, oh, this will be 0.2. At 1, it will be 1.2. And then these keys need to be like this. So, and we need also initial mesh size 1. Cool. And the life of this should not be random because we are just using one particle. So the life will be direct point, maybe 0.5, 0.6. Yeah, cool. And then we can use other things like something around it. So for that, you can use, you need actually a disk or a ribbon. So let's say you have a disk mesh, and I just duplicate this swirl material, control D. So we have this swirl one. And if I preview a disk mesh from my project, disk, like this first one, let it me check how it looks. So this is how it looks, okay? And the UVs are straight. So I'll use this mesh, this first disk mesh I have in this field one, and preview it and make this thing tiling 1 and power 0.2. Okay. And now I want this to be like uh, just a just a strip. Its 0.2 is too much. So I'll take a texture coordinate, and this is how it looks. Okay. So the tiling, let me preview this noise. This is how it looks. Okay. We need to change the tiling, maybe 5. Maybe 3. Okay, so if now I preview, so I have this texture coordinate, I will use the mask. If I take the red channel, actually the green one, and take the sign, so it will be faded from both sides. If you make the sign 2, then we can also use the power to make the thickness of this. If you use it like 10, it will be like that, or maybe 20, 50. And you can also offset it if you want. So you can add some value here, maybe 1. So it will be offset. 1 is too much, maybe 0.5 minus 0.5. So it is around here. So this, like, we need this much. Then we can multiply, or you can use a burn thing from here. Okay, and use these together. So you will have this effect, noise that is cutting it, and then you can use it here. Okay, and it has also applied to side material. Let's try it. So save it. So in the FX, I'll duplicate my swirl, control D, and this is actually swirl rings. Okay, so I will use that disk in here, and then this swirl one material. If I preview, nothing is visible. So let's make these dynamic parameter power maybe 0 for now, or this much, and the size maybe 5. Now you can see that uh, even bigger, like this much, and I want it maybe 5, and then initial mesh orientation, random. So it will be around it, and then with the dynamic parameter, this should be dissolved like this. But I guess I need a different material on it, and this should be a little softer, I guess, or maybe you can use harder. But instead of this, I'll use the aura texture. Okay, and the tiling, I have a parameter, and also I'll make a parameter for this. So this is my width. So now, if I preview this only and use just one, okay, so you have this. With dynamic parameter, this is tiling. You can make one and width this much maybe, and this is our dissolve. Tiling we can use random, so maybe 0.5 to 1. So I'll do that, 0.5 to 1. Width we will use maybe this much, or maybe random from 150 to 300, 150 to maybe 250. Then this is dissolve, that will go. So now we can use again 5 particles, random rotation. So this is how it looks. Okay, and this is from where we will dissolve it. So initially 0.3, at the end it should be 1.3. So it will dissolve like that, and the curve should be a little down here, and the light should be little random. So 0.7 maximum, 0.5 I guess, or 0.4. I think I'll make this 0.4 and 0.2. And this thing should be like after 0.5, it should start dissolve. And width also you can make it to scale. So instead of random, I will use a curve. So initially this is like 200, and at the end this is like 500 or maybe 1000. Yeah. So you'll see the width also changing, and this dissolve thing maybe 1 or maybe 0.5. This will be like this. Maybe 0.8. Yeah, cool. So this is how it looks. Cool. So we can just place that effects in our viewport. I want little dark thing behind that, so I will copy that glow, and this will be dark. And instead of this additive, we need translucent material, so we can make that dark and make it dark, and 5. And one more thing, 20. So you can see that dark, and we can make the life of this little higher, and this is fading. Yeah. And one more thing I would like to add, little distortion, and then we will finish it. So I'll just make a material M distortion. I'll take a texture normal. Let me search a round texture like this. So it's a round normal, and we can use that here. Browse this and use it here. This will go into my normal. Make this material transparent and lit. Not unlit and directional. And then in the lurk, we can use a radial. So if you want to see that here in the planar, and if I'll go to my preview setting and turn on my floor and also environment and make the opacity at 0, you can see that round thing in the center. So that's what I need, and we need a dynamic parameter to control this value. So if this is 1, we have this. If this is 0, we don't have. So this is actually distort. Okay, let's save this, and I'll browse this and I'll copy this dark, copy and paste, and this is my distortion, and use that material. So if I just preview this one only, you can see that happening here also, but it's not fading. So we have a dynamic parameter for that, dynamic parameter, and this value should go from 1 to 0. And particle, I just use 1, and the light should be constant, maybe 1, maybe 1.8, and the size maybe 180, like this. Now there's an issue with that. Let me fix that also. So basically we can just remove this curve and make this 1, and we can scale it down again. So it should be like after 0.8, it should be turned back to 0. So now if you'll see, okay, so if we will say see together all things, looks cool. Life should be little lower, maybe 1.6 or maybe 1.4. Yeah, cool. So this is our orb effect. And one more thing, this wheel should have little more size, 1.2, I guess. 1.1. So that's it, that's our effect. And I'll just add some post in it quickly. So you need to make it infinite, and then I don't need this. Yeah, that's it. I'm not using. Thanks for watching. Keep learning, and bye bye.